DEA raid Defense Secretary's office. 3,800 arrests, 8 tons of drugs seized. U.S. military.
At 3:17 a.m., federal authorities confirmed what many feared but no one was prepared to hear. This was not a routine raid. This was not an isolated bust. This was the single largest cartel infiltration takedown ever uncovered on American soil. By sunrise, 3,400 arrests had been logged. 8.2 tons of narcotics seized. $11.6 billion in assets frozen. And one of Las Vegas's most powerful casino empires had collapsed in silence. What investigators discovered next would prove something far more dangerous. The system wasn't corrupted. It was engineered. And Las Vegas was only the surface. At exactly 4:32 a.m., the Strip looked peaceful. Neon lights flickered against empty sidewalks. Valet stations stood abandoned. Slot machines hummed inside buildings that never truly slept. But beneath the glamour, strike teams were already in motion. FBI, DEA, ICE, DHS, SWAT, moving in synchronized silence. Unmarked vans rolled down service roads. Black SUVs blocked off access tunnels behind luxury casinos. Helicopters hovered just outside city limits, dark, waiting. This wasn't one raid. It was 47. Simultaneous strikes across Las Vegas, Henderson, North Las Vegas, and the surrounding desert corridors. Underground casinos hidden behind legitimate gaming floors. Private vaults disguised as wine cellars. Server rooms buried beneath high-limit lounges. Logistics hubs masked as hotel supply warehouses. Doors were breached within seconds. Flashbangs shattered the illusion of safety. Agents moved like shadows through marble halls and maintenance tunnels. Suspects fled with duffel bags, cash, pills, encrypted phones spilling onto casino carpets worth more than their lives. Inside one warehouse alone, agents seized fentanyl bricks stacked like cinder blocks, methamphetamine sealed in casino-branded crates, pressed pills hidden inside false poker tables. By 6:10 a.m., the count had already crossed 4 tons. And then, inside a restricted vault beneath a private casino wing, agents found something they weren't supposed to. A sealed server container. Military-grade encryption. Offline, air-gapped, and protected by authorization keys that did not belong to any cartel. They belonged to the state. By 9:48 a.m., the operation moved underground digitally. Inside a federal cyber forensics lab outside Reno, analysts stood in silence as encryption barriers fell one by one. What appeared on the screen wasn't a ledger. It was a command map. A sprawling digital network labeled under a single codename, Operation Silver Veil. Shell corporations stretched across Nevada, Arizona, and California. Ghost nonprofits disguised as addiction recovery charities. Luxury restaurant chains laundering cash through comped events. Logistics firms handling casino supplies that never reached a single gaming floor. Money flowed through offshore accounts in waves. Asia, the Caribbean, Eastern Europe returning clean within hours. But the most disturbing discovery came from the authorization layer. One master access key. Registered, not to a cartel leader, but to a sitting public official. A fictional state-level authority with jurisdiction over gaming regulation, land zoning, and law enforcement coordination. Every tunnel approval, every delayed inspection, every closed investigation. Signed digitally. Approved automatically. This wasn't corruption. This was command-level collusion. Las Vegas had been transformed into a fortified cartel hub protected not by violence, but by paperwork. And the worst phase hadn't even begun. At 5:12 a.m., the following morning, a different screen lit up. A command center, pre-dawn, lights low, tension high. A digital map filled the wall. Red markers bloomed across the southwest, Nevada deserts, Arizona border corridors, Southern California ports. 73 confirmed targets. More were still loading. The order was issued without ceremony. A unified eradication operation. 200 federal agents. 300 SWAT operators. Armored ground units. Black Hawk helicopters lifting before sunrise. Desert super labs vaporized under coordinated raids. Border tunnel systems sealed and flooded. Cartel mansions breached before private security could react. Smuggling convoys intercepted mid-route, drivers still believing patrol gaps were active. They weren't. Within 6 hours, seized weapons filled 3 hangars. Cash stacked high enough to require forklifts. Servers ripped from underground bunkers still warm. Cartel lieutenants were arrested alongside licensed executives, regulators, security contractors, accountants. By noon, one phrase echoed through every briefing room. The underworld took more damage in 6 hours than in the last 6 years. But inside the seized data, investigators found something even more unsettling. The cartel hadn't infiltrated law enforcement. It had replaced it. Seized patrol logs told the story. Convoys timed perfectly between falsified schedules. Raids leaked hours before execution. Border agents reassigned minutes before crossings. Internal emails showed payments routed through shell consulting firms. Judges flagged cases for dismissal before filings reached court. Commanders issuing stand-down orders without explanation. Honest officers stared at the evidence in disbelief. Years of sacrifice, undone by silence from the top. Arrests followed. Senior planners, operational commanders, badge-wearing officials who had enforced a parallel system one owned by the cartel. The badge would have to be rebuilt from the ground up. And the map kept expanding. As analysts zoomed out, the scale became undeniable. Trucking contractors carrying green energy equipment. Agricultural routes, repurposed for narcotics flow. Ports running altered manifests during maintenance windows. Tons moved weekly without a single alert. The final file was labeled simply, Phase Omega, a permanent cartel headquarters, a shadow governance structure, long-term control through legitimacy. The realization hit hard. The system wasn't infiltrated. It was redesigned. And as Las Vegas returned to daylight casinos reopening, neon lights glowing once more, the damage beneath the surface was irreversible. Because power doesn't always arrive with gunfire. Sometimes, it arrives with signatures, silence, and ambition. By the third day, Las Vegas stopped pretending nothing had happened. Casino floors reopened, but something was missing. The confidence, the certainty, the belief that the house was untouchable. Federal seizure notices appeared quietly slipped onto glass doors before dawn. Luxury towers stood frozen mid-operation. Private jets were grounded. Bank accounts went dark without warning. Inside a temporary federal courthouse, sealed indictments stacked faster than they could be read. Not street criminals. Architects. Investigators now had the full picture. The casino empire was never just a front. It was infrastructure. Every high-limit room doubled as a meeting hub. Every private elevator bypassed surveillance. Every VIP host functioned as a courier handler. Gaming licenses became shields. Tourism grants became transport corridors. Security exemptions became blind spots. And at the center of it all stood one figure. A fictional state authority, untouchable by reputation, unreachable by rumor. Until now. When federal agents moved, they did it without spectacle. No press. No leaks. No warning. At 6:41 a.m., agents entered a private residence tucked behind a gated canyon road. The arrest took 90 seconds. No resistance. No denial. Just silence. Because the evidence had already spoken. Inside the seized servers, investigators uncovered years of engineered control. Zoning approvals issued minutes before cartel construction. Emergency funding rerouted to shell contractors. Border task forces reassigned days before major shipments. Every decision had plausible deniability. Individually harmless. Together, devastating. This wasn't greed. It was governance. As arrests continued nationwide, another pattern emerged. The cartel wasn't just moving drugs. It was moving people. Human trafficking routes masked as employment pipelines. Temporary work visas rerouted through casino subcontractors. Workers disappeared into transit houses, disguised as employee dorms. Financial logs showed payouts tied to silence. Families threatened. Communities destabilized. Witnesses erased not with violence, but displacement. And through it all, fentanyl flowed. Cheap. Fast. Relentless. One analyst summarized it with a single sentence. They didn't just sell poison, they optimized it. By week 2, the fallout reached beyond law enforcement. Markets reacted. Tourism dipped. Entire investment groups withdrew from Nevada holdings. What had once been sold as economic growth was now revealed as artificial inflation powered by narcotics and silence. Behind closed doors, officials faced a question no one wanted to answer. How many times had this happened before? And how many times had it succeeded? Inside a debrief room, an agent stared at a photo pinned to the wall. A seizure image. Not drugs. Not cash. Children's shoes. found in a transit house 20 miles from the Strip. That was the moment the operation stopped being about numbers. Because statistics don't bury children. People do. Rebuilding began slowly. Task forces were dissolved and reformed. Background checks reopened cases once labeled resolved. Licensing boards were stripped and rebuilt under federal oversight. But trust doesn't regenerate on command. It fractures quietly. And corruption doesn't disappear when exposed. It adapts. In the final briefing, a senior investigator closed the file with one sentence: power doesn't always need violence. Sometimes, it only needs permission. The Las Vegas skyline still glows at night. Neon still flashes. Music still plays. The illusion still works. But beneath the lights, something has changed. Because now, people know. And once the system is seen, it can never hide the same way again.